Hello, today we're talking about English language. We have three participants. One who started to live in the English-speaking society as an adult. I came to Canada when I was 30 years old. Another one, Victoria, who learned English while being a teenager. She was overseas and studied English in different settings. And here is Peter, who was born in Canada and was supposed to be the native speaker, and he probably is the native speaker. But weirdly, he was raised in the Orthodox Christian household, where most of the people were speaking Russian, and until like age of 10, I would say, he wasn't very good English speaker. Don't blame his parents. So I think it will be interesting to talk about how those three people, I mean us, have different perspectives. Let's start with Victoria.
Yeah, like it's actually a very interesting topic for me to discuss because I'm the one who basically learned the English language without any native speaking society around me, without any English speaking society around me. So all I was doing is going to a specific school. Then I had some tutors that taught me English. I traveled a bit. It was not like mostly it was not English speaking countries, like mostly it was Europe. So I just practiced like the basics level, but not like the native level of speaking. Okay, and I think I did quite a good job in this, as long as I can freely speak English right now. And it's really interesting for me because I'm not an English learner, but I'm also an English teacher, and I have different methods to make my students learn this language, finally learn this language, because in my country we do really struggle with this. So I would like to firstly know the opinion of a person who was born in a native speaking country. Like Peter, can you call yourself bilingual? Like, is it about you or not?
I mean, on what sense bilingual? Like, on all senses, like, am I literate in both languages? Am I like, can I read and write in both languages? Because I can't read and write in Russian very well, but I can talk to my mom. All right.
When you are thinking, which language do you use to think?
Sometimes I switch between. Like, I feel like I mostly think in English throughout my day, but like, some parts I think in Russian. Actually, I can't really pinpoint which one I really think. And
Sometimes I need time to analyze which language I use. Sometimes really I think something and then I think, which language is this? Because I have another language, Hebrew. Um, for 10 years, when I was 19, I came to Israel and I was submersed in Hebrew. And sometimes it pops up unexpectedly. I'm saying the word, and then I realize that nobody would understand me because it's a word in Hebrew. Or because I studied numerous languages like German, Spanish, French, Chinese. Sometimes one word pops up and I really don't remember which language it belongs to. It was like,
I
yeah.
I have the same thing. Literally today, as I was coming out of the gym, I was talking to my mom so she could pick me up, and I was talking to her in Russian. And then I talked to my gym buddy, and I was speaking to him in Russian. I didn't even notice I was speaking in Russian. And then he had to tell me, "You're speaking in Russian right now." I was like, "Oh, really?" So I don't even notice sometimes when I start speaking it.
It is painful for our brain to be in a multilingual environment. It is not very pleasant for our brain to have this extra words for every single thing. We can feel this. We need to switch, like it's a mode. It's very similar to the computer, where we switch the languages. And sometimes during this switch, we have this difficulty to, because like I said, it's not only the language, it's the way how we perceive the world. Especially, I always tell this story when I was looking for the psychologist, and one of the candidates to be my psychologist was a Hebrew specialist here in Canada. I came to her, I explained my problem in Hebrew, and it turned out that in Hebrew, I do not have any problem. Because when she listened to me, she asked me, so what? And then I thought, oh my God, she's right. There's no problem here. You see, like if I think and speak Hebrew, the thing that I was complaining about didn't exist.
Yeah, it's a bit more weird for me because I am in like that like you have yeah, you have Russian always around you, Dad, but like and different languages around you. I'm mostly in an English surrounding here, especially when I go to school for 5 hours a day. Like everybody there speaks English. And honestly, when I'm in that environment where it's English always, it's really hard for me to think words in Russian because I can't, like, if somebody tells me to speak Russian, I just can't think of anything. Or to
Yeah,
like even have like a conversation with somebody.
yeah, it's not only about actually perceiving the reality, it's also about like the way of thinking. Because if we look deeply into language structures, for example, if we compare Russian to English, and that's what I usually do on my lessons, we'll see that they're completely different. Like, for example, it is so hard for me to explain the idea of present perfect in English that they have, because we don't have this idea in Russian at all. So it's really hard to explain to them. It's like, okay, so you did it in the past, but it doesn't really matter. The matter is that you have like you have something now that came from the past, and they just don't get it. Like I tried to do it like an hour ago with my student, and his mind was literally blowing. And there are some studies that actually show that bilinguals, for example, they have different personalities for the different languages. So
Yeah, I feel
yeah,
that
and
actually.
can
Yeah.
feel it. I can feel it because when I start to speak in English, like I completely change the tone of my voice. I
Mhm.
can even change my thoughts on some topics just because, like, you know, I got used to think like that in English. But like if it comes to Russian, I can think the old way around.
That's
So.
interesting. That's
Mhm.
really interesting. Could you give us an example of like differing opinions?
Like remember, so I studied abroad for a year, and when I was studying abroad, you know, like they have this culture of not being racist, not being like abusive to anyone. And as long as I got used to this environment around me, I started to think, like, my first thought, for example, when I see a guy of not my nationality, was like, oh, I should not judge him, he's a person, blah blah blah. And that's like the first thought that comes to my mind. But here in Russia, me seeing a foreigner, and I'm like, oh, приезжий, приезжий.
But
It's
It's
like,
true, yeah. It's
and you
like
can
two,
feel it.
it's not also the language, it's two different cultures completely.
Yeah, yeah, and you
Yeah.
start to think with this culture because the culture is in the language. So like the phrases that you use, like the words, the constructions, it's all about culture
we
that
don't
you have.
have in Russian the word privacy. How you
Yeah,
say privacy?
приватность. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
We've
we don't
discussed
say
it.
privacy in Russian. We don't
Mhm.
have privacy in Russian. We are not entitled to privacy in Russian. Okay,
Yeah.
how do you say совесть in English? They don't use this word.
Yeah.
And
Well,
we
they
do
kind of
use-
do.
Ah,
Well,
like what?
it's a say. It's not really a word. It's like a saying, like the little voice in your head. That's what they call it. Or
Little
conscience.
That
voice.
we
Conscience.
have the name for this little voice.
What?
That means that it's kind of important to us.
Yeah, like у тебя нет совести, имей совесть, бессовестный.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can't really say that. Have a conscience. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it's interesting because, and we are surprised with some of the behavior that we witness in English-speaking culture. Sometimes they behave in a way like they don't have service.
Mhm. I
Yeah,
feel
it
like
is.
the reason why there isn't a word for privacy
In Russia.
in Russian, but there is in like in the West or just in English speaking countries, is because Russians, you can be, they're a lot more open about their thoughts and about what they're speaking. But like if you're speaking to somebody here in Canada, it feels kind of little two-handed, is that the word? Where it's like you're speaking to just like a mask more than like a person
It is a
sometimes.
mask, and it looks like they are very open. Like, especially in the place where you live, Peter, and I lived there for 17 years. People can start talking to you like you are very close friends, even without hello and goodbye. You can
Mhm.
stand by somewhere in the supermarket, and someone would start commenting on some products, talking to you like you are just his mate.
Yeah, you don't really see that in Russia, but I feel like on a more like interpersonal connection level, like especially European countries, they have that more personal like talk belief. Like you have a more deep understanding of a person if you knew them for longer, other than like in here in like the West. But what did I want to say?
You think what
Come
you
back
want
to
to
me.
say,
Yeah.
for at least 30, for last 30 years, our cultures were mixed. There was no real borders. And Russian language has adopted a lot of English words, which for me, who left Russia 30 years ago, sound weird. Like account. Account is an English word, but it already became a adopted word. And many other words, low coster
Mhm.
and other things. So what they use, they adopt without any problem. But the things that they don't use, they even don't translate or use, like being politically correct. How you
Mhm.
say in Russian?
No clue. And I wanted to comment on
But
that. That's what
Victoria
that
lives in Russia. How do you say?
Политкорректность.
Yeah.
But it's like it's an English word. I have a very good example that was blowing my mind for a couple of years. It's like in Russia, we have a very strict difference between a friend and знакомый. So
Мгм.
a man who I like, a person who I
Да, на ты, на
know.
вы.
Yeah, but
Мгм.
in English-speaking countries, they just don't have it. They have friend. Okay, you are my friend. We just met 5 minutes ago. You're already my friend. Well, they can say a friend of mine, meaning kind of close thing, but it's not like this. But in Russia, we have this very strict differences between these two words, and it's so strange that like they just don't have this. Do they? I don't think so.
Not really, honestly. I feel like there's a close friend and then a friend and then best friend. There's like levels to it. If you just met them, you're a friend. If you've known each other for a long time,
Friend
it's
has
close
a
friend.
sexual connotation in English language. I have a difficulty to say that I know someone who is a female
Yeah,
If,
girlfriend, yeah.
if I say she's a girlfriend, that means that we have intimate relationship,
Intimacy. Yeah.
intimacy. So how I would say, I know a person who is a female. Wow, I know the lady.
You could say I know a friend who is girl or who is a girl.
Yeah, that's what I usually
But
say.
it
Like,
is weird. And now
It is
with
weird.
all this gender neutrality, even if Victoria would say I have a girlfriend, we would think that she's lesbian, and that's all.
Yeah.
yeah,
And,
that's true.
and it's kind of weird because in Russia we don't have it. If she says I have подруга,
У меня подружка
we
есть,
would
да,
never
it's more.
think that they have special relationship in this term. A man wouldn't say I have подруга either because it's weird. Знакомая. У меня есть знакомая.
Знакомая. У
No,
меня
it's
есть
not
знакомая.
weird. They say it a
No,
lot.
I don't know. In Russian, I feel like it's more accepted to say.
Man would
подружка.
say у меня есть подруга.
Yeah,
Да,
like
почему?
we're in the modern society, okay? So now they accept the fact
Подруга
that
in the meaning of girlfriend or подруга in the meaning
no,
just know
in the
her?
meaning of the female friend. Like they start to get the thing that you can make friends with whatever gender it is.
Yeah, if you are like female and if you say he's a friend, in English it means that he's a friend. If you say he's just a friend, then it's a whole more complicated issue. In Russian, she would say у меня есть друг. No, again, знакомый. Друг это many people don't believe that women and men can be friends or just friends.
And I also noticed a thing when I was learning Spanish. So I was like talking to my friends and we were comparing our languages. And in Spain, they actually do have one word for a friend with benefits. It's like a for amigo or for amiga. But in Russian or in English, we do not have this word.
Why? We have friends with benefits. That's the.
But it's
that's
like
the
it's
word
not
for it.
one word. It's like something new that came up.
Yeah, it's not a real word. And it has a negative connotation, by the way.
Is it?
Mhm.
A friend with benefits?
I don't think so. Like I can't say that in modern culture it has like the negative thing.
Well, in modern culture, a stripper
Do you
is.
want to be a friend with benefits?
I mean,
Do you want someone to refer to you as a female friend with benefit?
I don't see a problem in here.
Is it your girlfriend? No, it's just my friend with benefits. Oh,
Well, it's a normal thing in modern society, you know.
really?
Yeah,
Wow,
I
you
Yeah.
guess so.
progressive
Like if you
society
go,
up there.
if you go on a dating app, you'll see like tons of guys looking for FWB, which is like friends with benefits, and it's like, or they also call it ONS, one night stand, something like this. So it's kind of popular thing now.
It's kind of degenerate culture. I feel like that's a whole different box.
Dusha was singing yesterday. Tinder bells, Tinder bells. I said, it's not Tinder, it's Jingle. She says, really? I said, yes.
Yeah, nice. And like I always had a question to natives. Like I knew like I get to know that there is no word for голубой in English speaking countries. So they just call it light blue. And
What? Oh, do you mean like голубой как gay или голубой
no,
как color?
I mean like the color. I mean
Oh,
like the color. It's
почему
like
у нас есть
light
blue,
blue. Light blue is not голубой. It's light blue.
cyan? Cyan is a light blue. Is it not?
Okay, and why don't you have light like this color in your rainbow then? Because like in Russian, like we have different rainbow in Russia, okay? So we have like red. Oh my God, it's so hard to do this in English. Каждый хозяин.
Каждый,
Каждый охотник желает
Каждый охотник
знать,
желает знать.
где сидит фазан. In
So it's
English,
like-
there is mnemonics, oh boy, oh girl, something like.
So in English speaking countries, if you look like at the pride flag or at Rainbow Dash from My Little Pony, she doesn't have the light blue color. And
There's a
the
light blue color in the rainbow.
Yeah, like you don't have this color. You can Google it. Like you have
Hold on, I need to see this.
yeah, you have Canadian servers. I guess if you just Google rainbow,
Russian rainbow. Oh my God, you're right. There's
Yes.
light blue.
It's on the level of the legislation. It's forbidden to use the wrong rainbow
Oh,
because it's propaganda of same sex relationship.
yeah, there is a light blue. There's a light blue and then the dark blue.
Yeah, каждый охотник желает знать, где голубой.
Little boy.
Yeah.
Oh, and
You
he's
don't
not.
have it. You don't have
Oh.
it. Like
No,
it's an
we
interesting thing. So this color doesn't really mean a lot in your culture. But for some
Do
reason,
colors mean a lot in other cultures? I don't know if colors mean anything
well, I
at
mean,
all.
look
But
at
I
Russia. We
believe
have
that
so many meanings.
blue is the color of the sky. The sky is blue, and the ocean is navy blue, deep blue, right?
Mhm.
Blue is голубой, and deep blue or navy blue is синий.
Yeah, but it says something. Like, I mean, look at the Russian language. So here we have so many meanings for this. We have like a color, голубой. We have like a person, голубой. We even have like a person, синий. Sometimes we call it like он просто синий.
Он просто
Interesting.
синий.
Look at the last
Right.
name. We have Mr. Black. We have
Oh yeah,
Mr.
that's
White.
right.
We have Mr. Green. We have Mr. Brown.
I've never heard Mr. Green.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there is Mr. Green.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we don't have Mr. Blue.
That sounds weird.
We don't have Mr. Orange.
Both of those sound weird.
We don't have Mr. Yellow.
I remember me being in the second grade and we were doing some grammar stuff in English and there were like English names in here and like imagine second grade and we all look at this Mr. Dick.
Mhm.
We were so confused. We just couldn't get this thing. Like why? Is it like
I
a
still
really-
don't get how Dick is an abbreviation of Richard. I still don't get that.
Like how-
By the way, about the Dick, yesterday I saw the name Dixon written not with X, but Dickson. And I thought, how can you like use this last name when how it should sound to any English speaker like Dixon? Dixon.
Yeah, it's strange. It's strange how names work, and because I didn't notice something like this in Russian. Like, okay, we have some names like Любовь, it's love. We have Надежда, it's hope. I think it's kind of strange in Canada or in America to name a girl Hope or Love or
Oh, we name girls Summer. It's very popular name up in Muskoka. You have a lot of summers.
I don't know
Yeah.
any summers.
You don't know any summers?
No.
No. We had this guy that was building all the stuff around odd jobs.
Yeah,
His daughter was Summer.
really.
Yeah.
Mm.
Christian names is not very popular these days. But even in Russian with the colors.
Why, John is one of the most popular
John?
names in the world.
Yeah, but Jacob, your brother, didn't give the name John to his son. He found a very difficult
Ezekiel
name.
is also a biblical name.
Yeah, but it's not very easy for us to pronounce. That's why all the relatives.
А ты говоришь Зюша?
Yeah, everybody is calling him how they like. Uncle Michael calls him Yurочка. We call him
Yurочка.
Zyusha, and they call him Ziki.
Ага.
And in Russian, the last names with the colors: Черных, черный, белый. There's
Like they're not pretty. Like
Рина
not-
зеленая,
No,
зеленая.
I've never heard of it.
Я тоже. Я не
There was
понимаю,
an
где ты
actress,
нашел этого
actress
зеленого.
Рина зеленая.
No,
Oh.
it's really, really, really uncommon to meet a guy with such a
Yeah,
surname.
Green is very uncommon name. I don't know.
Green, Mr. Green.
Never
Google,
heard.
you'll see thousands of them. Mr. Green, you would find.
I found a company name, Mr. Green.
No, but there are like write John Green, and you'll have a list.
Oh,
of
John Green. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, it can be Jake Green, John Green, Dave Green.
But like at the same time, it's interesting how we stop perceiving such namings as by their actual sense and point. Like for example, like it's a big mystery for me how you, like native English speakers, perceive the name of the shampoo Head and Shoulders. Because like in Russia, it's okay, it's like Head and Shoulders, some random letters, but Head and Shoulders. So you like Head and Shoulders. But
It's I think it comes from the song. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Do you have that? It's
no,
very popular for kids.
no.
You see, yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, it's strange. Like you do really like. Do you perceive these namings as something? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, like that is derived from the song. Head,
Yeah, it
shoulders, knees and
completely
toes.
makes sense. If
Yeah.
the kids heard this song, it associates with bathing.
Yeah,
And
that's
maybe
the song
this-
for
yeah,
bathing.
this explanation I'm hearing for the first time from Peter now, but it completely makes sense
It
now.
makes sense, right? It's imagine like the song where it's I forgot the name of the cartoon. There is a Russian cartoon where the refrigerator, I think, was
Ah,
talking
with-
about how you're supposed to dry yourself after the shower.
It's like
Yeah.
the Russian
Is that a
song,
cartoon?
попу мыть, нужно каждый день, попу мыть, даже если лень. We can call the shampoo or the попу мыть.
And people, да. And people understand. Ah, okay. Это уже песня от этой.
Oh,
It comes from the song.
Майдадыр. How you
Yeah.
translate Майдадыр?
Майдайдыр. Вот как это было, да.
If
I don't know
someone is
how to-
going to produce something with the name Майдадыр, it will sound very familiar to 99% of Russians, right?
Да.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Even though if you translate it, it's actually wash until you rip it off.
Yeah.
Ah, мой дадыр.
Мой
Oh,
дадыр,
that's really
yeah.
good.
Yeah, that's
That's
the
really
thing.
clever.
And
Yeah.
you thought it's Moy Dadir, like there is
I thought
somebody
it was a
else
whole
Dadir,
name. I thought
and
it
this
was
is
like
my
I thought it
Dadir.
was like Muhammad, мой дадыр.
Ah, my Dadir. It's how you say it when you really
Wash until there's holes.
yeah.
That's
That's-
cool.
yeah,
I've never
that's
realized it came from a song. I'd like it really shows us how we can't fully understand the culture if we
Even me living here as an adult, I have missed the whole portion of kids culture, right? I want to understand those allusions coming back to the cartoons and other stuff, especially of the generation of the baby boomers.
Yeah, but like here in Russia, like for natives, it's also it will be really hard to understand such things as like, oh, Stiglitz or something like this. They just won't get it.
Ой,
Yes.
Stiglitz? What does that mean?
Have you ever heard of Stiglitz?
Remind me.
There's a
So-
movie, 17 мгновений весны, about
Yeah.
the spy, Russian spy within the German establishment.
Желтый чемоданчик?
No, the
Oh.
Second World War. It's
Oh.
black and white movie. And
Не,
we
не
have a
слышал.
lot of jokes about Stiglitz and Müller, and because it was a very popular show for quite a while, and everybody was joking about it.
And even now, like our generation, I'm pretty sure that 90% of our generation haven't seen this film, but they still use these jokes, even though they do not fully understand where it comes from. But they still say like Stiglitz or something like this.
I feel like that is also kind of in English culture. I can't really give an example, but I know that that's a thing that people use jokes that they don't
Mhm.
really know where they
Well,
come
for
from.
example, $60,000 question. Why 60,000?
Because it was a game show.
Yeah, it was a game, right?
Yeah, that's a good example. Like there's a lot
Like-
of Canadian TV that I've never watched or ever heard of, but I feel like there's jokes from it that comes out from it.
Yeah, and like it's a great way to identify native speaker and the foreigner, because they will never get these jokes if they were not grown in these surroundings, in this environment.
Unless, like with the internet, we can find the explanation for almost anything.
Yeah,
But
like
it's not like it's not about the explanation. It's about like having this feeling inside of you, having this knowledge, like a basis knowledge from your childhood.
I mean, with the internet, it also makes it a bit easier. Like, I grew up with a lot of Russian YouTube and just Russian cartoons in general, which I feel like also like got that like sense of culture and just general, you know, like what's it called? You understand, like speaking, like
Mhm.
just general like understanding. And I also learned English from those sources, I feel like, and going to school and talking there, and I feel like it mostly comes from those two sources, both of my languages.
Mhm.
Anyways, it's a very good chance to analyze things. Another thing that I would like to say, it's weird. People wear T-shirts with different inscriptions in the area of their breast, chest, and they might be with huge letters, and we're supposed to ignore what's written on them.
Yeah, yeah, and they also have big print letters on their ass saying something there.
Yeah, and or the pause of the S, but the T-short, like naturally, when you see a person with a thing written on it,
You
you are
start
trying
reading.
to make sense of the connection between what person is and what he is presenting, right?
Mhm.
Especially with the adult people, when they show up, they usually don't even know what the inscription says on their chest, especially Russian, Ukrainians who are in Canada. They get it from second hand, even from charity, and they just wear it. And then they show up with this, and in most cases, I'm shamelessly asking, "Do you know what it says?" And they say, "Oh, I never thought of this. So what does it say?" And then I translate. And yeah, like I like to make sense of things. So if I wear something, I mean it, right? You're not
I
going
once
to hang it around with a huge placate saying something, and you don't mean it.
I once saw a person in Yummy Mart. Yummy Mart is like the little store that is like mostly European food in it.
It's
If you
not
don't know.
little.
It's a big branch of it. Yeah, it's a pretty big business. I saw a person there wearing a shirt that said in big bright glitter letters, it said MILF over top of them. Do you know what
what
MILF means?
Yeah.
body I would like to fuck. Uh,
Of
uh,
course, Dad knows.
was it a lady?
Yeah, it was a lady.
That would be even funnier if that
Yeah.
would be a man.
Or like the thing that they come to a tattoo salon and ask them to, oh, can you make some Chinese lettering? And they take a can of tuna or something like this, the ingredients of it, and and tattoo it.
Yeah. It's very
It's
popular to
like a
do that,
joke
isn't it?
that
Yeah.
a lady that knows Chinese and she's staring at the girl, at the
She
girl's
has tuna
tattoo,
ingredients.
that tattoo in the at the on the bus, and she said, "What, you old lady? You are never. You would never dare to put on yourself something like that." She says, "No, I'm just trying to make sense of it. It says uh, not to freeze again."
Yeah. But like the thing that I do really like about Russian, like this is the thing that I've never seen in any of the languages that I ever touched. It's our big field and big opportunities in creating so different swear words that we can imagine. Like I haven't seen this opportunity in any of the language, but here we have such a diversity of swear words that like I can come up with a new one right now and they will understand what I mean.
It is
Yeah,
weird. Yeah, you don't have that with English very much. Like,
you can't come up with words in English. They don't like it.
Yeah, and it's really strange because like when I was learning English, I remember me sitting at school and I was like, how do I say pösik? I don't want to say puppy. I want to say pösik, pösichek. So, and they just don't have this opportunity to come up with some words that make sense. I don't
yeah.
like that thing about English. It makes it simpler,
Mm.
but with such an
No,
opportunity.
you're absolutely right. It's a creative. It's kind of Russian mind is creative mind,
Yeah.
and English mind is trying to keep
Hey,
up with standards. They don't like innovations in language.
oh no, I would 100% disagree.
I will
There's
disagree.
Give an
They just have
example.
different methods. Like,
there's many examples. Like this one's very popular with Gen X. Do you know what gyat means?
No.
the
It
yacht.
means ass.
Uh,
Yeah.
Why?
And if
Why?
you say level 2 gyat, that means you're saying somebody has a bad ass. And if you're saying level 10 gyat, that means somebody has a good ass.
It's like BS. Do you know what BS is, Victoria?
Bullshit.
Yeah, but yes, I
Yeah.
know. It's a common thing. I remember like recently I my student, she told me she was listening to a song and she found a word, and recently we were looking into word formation in English and there was a word bootylicious. I was like, what the hell? And then like, do you use this word like bootylicious?
Bootaliciousness?
Bootylicious.
How
Yeah.
would you spell that?
Like booty, like S.
Oh, like yeah, so that would mean like somebody has a tasty ass,
Yeah,
bootylicious.
and like we actually have this word in Russian. We say она жопастая.
Жопастая.
No, it doesn't correspond to the.
Yeah, it is.
Pasta doesn't sound like a delicious booty.
No, it
Pasta,
is.
она толстая и неповоротливая.
No, no.
Жопастная вообще слушается. It sounds to me like dangerous. Опасная, жопастная.
Нет.
No, I mean,
Okay,
I
you
think
might
it
have
depends.
changed. Yeah, because you had this song. Что-то завидуй, плачь Европа, у меня самая-самая красивая жопа. Попа.
Mhm.
Вот.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think they used to, for example, a girl parked very badly, and they say like, oh, she has like this this big ass, no way to park my car. But now they use it as like bootylicious.
Да?
Хитрожопость.
Ну, хитрожопость это different.
Do you have
Это
Smart-ass.
unisex.
Smart-ass.
Это может...
I have introduced a new word, teddy bearness. Actually, I needed the word плюшевость, and because I have this philosophy of teddy bearness, and actually it was used. There was one example that he was looking at me with such a glance, teddy bear, with such teddy bearness.
Ну, you could say, у нас есть, we have a word for плюшевость. It's cuteness.
No, it's not plюшевость. It's
Yeah,
cute.
but it will not work.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
look, teddy bear, it has its own history because it's because of the Theodore Roosevelt,
Mhm.
who actually was hunting, and they had a wounded mother bear. And he said that killing the wounded mother bear is not sport-like. And he didn't want to do this. So his companions killed it. But this joke, it was in 1902, in the beginning of the century. It was not the second Roosevelt, the first Roosevelt. So they were putting out the caricatures, cartoon, and since then it was a joke, teddy bear. And one company decided to cash up on this, and they asked for permission to call their toys teddy bears, and they started to sell it as teddy bears.
Mm.
And actually, it's also a problem because we have a very natural word, плюшевый медведь, and in English you have to say teddy bear, teddy bear, and плюшевый teddy bear.
Плюшевость, it's like soft. Плюшевый, it's like cotton.
We have plush, like
No, plushy. No, but
yeah, but
teddy
it's
bear is
about
also a
the,
plushie.
it's
Yeah.
about the texture.
Mhm.
You wouldn't say that he has the plushy character or plushy approach.
No, some regions and I think America call them plush bears, or just plushies in general. You could say plushies for every single or stuffed animal. Also, they like to
It's
say.
more, it's more concrete, yeah. In French, it's de peluche, ours de peluche,
Mhm.
I like the French one.
ours de peluche.
Wait, I didn't come up with the word хитрожопость in English.
Smartass, being a smartass.
Smartass.
No, smart ass, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't feel that it.
In Hebrew, they say Chacham Balayla, which means a wise man in the night. Why do they say it?
Because their brain is off during the night.
Why do they say raining cats and dogs? Like in Russian,
That's actually interesting. I don't know. I've
because
always
like in
questioned that
Russia
too.
we say льет как из ведра. Like it's raining like
Yeah,
from
that
a
makes
bucket.
sense because
it makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah, totally.
they also say raining buckets, which
Yeah.
makes
It
sense.
kind of makes sense, yeah.
But
That's not
I think it's an old saying. I think the new generation won't say it's raining cats and dogs. I think the use of this is like old ladies would say, "Oh, it's raining cats and dogs," right?
they don't
It's
use it in modern language.
that's actually, hold on. I want to test this. Just give me a sec. I want to give you guys some phrases and I want you guys to guess what they mean in English. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mhm.
why is red-handed? Why is
Yeah.
red-handed?
To catch someone red-handed means that with the blood on their hand.
With the blood on their hand. That makes sense. Yeah. It says in Old English law, if someone butchered an animal that wasn't theirs, they were convicted if they had the animal's blood on their hands. That's really stupid. They could have just washed it off before. before.
If he was caught,
With the blood of it.
I
Yeah.
think it was very crucial for landlords not to allow hunting on their grounds. They could have killed someone for hunting there. Yeah.
Okay, but where does spill the beans come from? How does that make sense? Like to reveal secret information. Where does spill the beans come
Maybe
from?
it comes from the Cats and Boots and the legend about the big goose.
Oh, it says here, in ancient Greece, there was an anonymous voting system using black and white beans. The collector had to spill the beans to reveal the voting result. These are like centuries years old, and we're still using them, but it makes no sense now, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, buttering someone up, it kind of makes sense on like on a face value. Because it's that makes sense.
Подмазываться.
Подмазывать. Yeah, no. Butter someone up, it means to flatter someone, to get something from them.
Ну,
Значит,
подмазываться.
если я бы тебе что-то попросил деньгами, я бы тебе сначала бы тебя...
Подмазываться. It's
Ну,
in Russian.
подмазываться, yeah, that
Ты
works, actually.
подмазываешься, чтобы получить что-то от меня.
Откуда вот bury the hatchet? Where did that come from?
Very what?
The hatchet.
I don't know. I
It
never
says-
heard it to be used by anybody.
You've never heard bury the hatchet? That's very
No.
famous saying. To forget the conflict and to be at peace.
Ah,
So like,
зарыть
if you...
топоры.
Да.
It's about the Native Americans. When they started, when they were ending the war, they would bury their
Hatches.
hatches in the ground, which symbolically would mean that they ended the war. But if they want start the war again, they would dig them out and start the war.
Yeah, that's actually right. That's what it says here.
Зарыть топор войны, можно так сказать, да?
Понятно. What about bite the bullet? Where does that come from?
I don't know, but the meaning is to die.
No, it's to... No, that's to kick the bucket. That's to die.
Kick the bucket, yeah.
To bite the bullet is to decide or do something difficult or unpleasant.
It's face the music.
Yeah, жабру съесть.
Что? Кого
Жабру
съесть?
съесть. Это же не...
Нет в русском.
Не? А что, в русском нет
Жабу
такого?
съесть. Не
Жабу, не жабру.
Жабры, it's like lungs for the fish.
In Russia, we say жаба душит.
Жаба душит.
Жаба душит?
Yeah, when we don't want to pay money for something.
Жаба душит. No, that's kind of different. That's different.
It might be from the old name for the heart attack, грудная жаба, when there's a pressure on the chest,
On the heart.
называлась грудная жаба.
That's interesting. It's really interesting.
Anyways, we need to wrap up.
Yeah.
It was a good talk.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.